Members of a violent gang operating in Bladen and Columbus counties are headed to prison after pleading guilty in federal court Wednesday. According to the United States Attorney's Office, Sean Shank, of Clark, was sentenced to more than 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to a federal charge of continuing criminal enterprise. Shank was the leader of the Piru MOB gang, a set of the United Blood Nation, that operated in Bladen and Columbus counties. The Piru MOB ran a large distribution operation that supplied heroin, cocaine and prescription opioids in the region. Shank is from New Jersey, which is known as a hotbed for the United Blood Nation, according to Leslie Cooley with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Cooley said Shank had warrants in Tennessee, but he was in North Carolina because he has family and friends here. Shank connected with an already organized gang and blessed them into the Piru MOB, according to Cooley. The partnership made him a high-ranking gang member known as a triple OG. Once he got here he found that structure and was able to put his mark on it, said Cooley. Anthony Jerome McLean, who was born and raised in Columbus County, became second in command, known as the Double OG, according to Cooley. She said Shank also brought Harry Lane Hardy Jr., his cousin, down to the Columbus and Bladen region to be in the gang. Hardy was set to take over as Triple OG when Shank was arrested, but authorities arrested him before that could happen. The gang's drug distribution was often accompanied by violent shootings and other retaliatory acts against rival gang members. Shank and McLean both ordered multiple hits on individuals who disrupted their drug operation. These orders resulted in the shooting of at least one person and the attempted shooting of several others. Members of the Piru MOB were initially arrested in 2014 after investigators learned they were bringing back a gang enforcer by the name of James Calvin Quinn to finish a hit on a local rival. Cooley said their original intention was to conduct a long-term drug trafficking investigation, but that changed when they learned about the ordered hit. On December 14, 2014, a confidential informant tipped them off that Shank and McLean were ordering a hit on an individual in the area who was in a rival gang. The two went to Kannapolis for a shipment of drugs. Because of that hit that was ordered, we did at that point in time decided that it was time to end the investigation, said Cooley. A traffic stop was ordered and Shank, McLean and Quinn were arrested. Several days later, a search warrant was ordered for 76 Peach Street in Clarkton. Hardy, Corey Scott Alford, and Malcolm Harvey were arrested. Hardy pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Alford pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute heroin and possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Harvey pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute heroin, distribution of heroin, and possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Childress and Williams were arrested within the following months. They both pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime and were sentenced to 7 years each. While investigators did not get far into the drug trafficking investigation, they did learn the gang members were going to Kannapolis to get different shipments of heroin, cocaine and prescription opioids. We're told those shipments were coming from California. They were being shipped from California to Kannapolis, where individuals were driving to pick them up, said Cooley. We also had 2 individuals who came down from New Jersey and in coming they had sources of supply for heroin in New Jersey that also were supplying the local area. Sheriffs in Bladen and Columbus counties said the arrest and sentencing put a huge dent in the Piru MOB set in their area, but the gang is still active. The FBI, ATF, the Columbus County Sheriff's Office and the Bladen County Sheriff's Office assisted in this case.